Guys and girls, if you're watching because of puppy, we need to talk. It's about your supplementation usage and how you or potentially a loved one have fallen victim to countless supplementation schemes and things you see on social media telling you that it works 100% and it'll get you the biggest muscles and the hottest girls. Don't do what I did. Call the toll-free number below at 1-800-MUSCLE-MEMORY and get the supplementation advice you need today. So with that, today we're talking about supplementation. I'm going to give you my top 3 and honestly my only 3 supplements that I currently take, and we'll go through the pros, the cons, and just a little bit of some description about them. Our first supplement, creatine. No, I'm not sponsored by MyProtein, but I love their products. They have everything tested by LabCorp and second sources. Let's talk about creatine. Okay, creatine, a lot of you athletes and just people alike are going to know what creatine is. For those that don't, quick description. This is all taken from WebMD. Creatine is a natural substance that turns into creatine phosphate in the body. Creatine phosphate helps make a substance called ATP. If you don't know what ATP is, think of it as when you're working out, you're doing those quick bursts of energies, either a quick bench press or a quick sprint, you're using ATP. Creatine is thought to improve strength, increase lean muscle mass, and help the muscle to recover more quickly during exercise. All right, so that's a basic synopsis of it. The 3 pros. Obviously, everyone's favorite. Number 1 is it's going to help increase your strength. Now, is it going to increase it dramatically? That's up to you and your diet. What I have noticed, and there's been studies done with it, is that it has helped increase people's bench press and just the more powerlifting, high velocity, high intensity type movements, so squats and deadlifts. Let's go to number 2, the second pro. It is very cheap and inexpensive. So for all you college students on a budget, can't be spending too much besides, buying your beer and alcohol and whatnot, because I know you do. You can get a lot of servings for very cheap. The third and final pro is it's backed by a lot of research. Because of how cheap and inexpensive it is for a lot of people to acquire it, there's a lot of research. So you can go on PubMed, WebMD, make sure it's a government-controlled website that is not lying to you, Wikipedia. Let's get into the cons. Number 1, for my athletes, college athletes in general, who get drug tested, creatine, even though it's not a drug itself, will show up and be positive on drug test. Okay, there's some, I don't know the whole science behind it, but there is issues with the certain drug tests that you do that creatine can cause it to become positive. Be very careful. If you're in the off season, go ahead, go all out with this. But when it comes to in season, you know that there might be a drug test, make sure you stop using this immediately. Number 2, creatine, since it is absorbed into the muscle and just how it works in general, is it gets absorbed a lot by water also. So what happens is a lot of people who take creatine say they get a lot of cotton mouth and whatnot. You do. You will drink a lot of water, which is a good thing. Everyone needs to drink a lot of water, but you do put on a lot of what they call water weight. You'll be putting on weight, but do not assume it's straight muscle. You could put on muscle mass that quick, everyone would be looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But make sure you just pay attention to that. So if you do go up, usually I've gone up like 5 pounds occasionally with creatine and whatnot, but then as soon as you come off it, you might drop those 5 pounds. Do not be scared. Third and final con with this is pretty much like every other supplement. It takes time for it to actually work. So there's ways you can do it. You can front load it where you can take more than 1 scoop, the first week. If you want to do that, I've always just gone the slow route and just take a scoop a day. Protein! Sorry about that. Next one, second supplement, protein, okay? I know this is casein, this is one type of protein. There's 3 very broad types of proteins. Number 1, casein, which is more slow releasing. 2, just basic protein, whey protein. And then there's 3, there's whey, like protein isolate. Okay, so casein is a slow releasing, it's not as quickly digestible as the other ones. So this is one I use because I go and usually have my protein at night. I take this because it fills me up throughout the night then when I sleep and whatnot. So I'm not having extra sweets and sugars before I go to bed. Mind games, gotta do it. The whey protein, the second one, just straight up, just basic whey protein. It's gonna be the cheapest just because it's the less processed. And then the third one, lastly, is the protein isolate. That is the more purified form where there's very strictly just protein in the mix, okay? So it's not as much fat and carbs. It's very, very broken down processed protein. Let's go over the pros of the team. Hashtag dad joke, hashtag I'm not funny, but it's okay. Pros of protein. Number 1, and the most obvious, it's gonna help you build muscle. Okay, proteins, no matter which one you take, they're gonna have the essential amino acids. The essentials are the ones that you and your body have to digest in. You actually have to eat it. Number 2, for a lot of people that once they get done working out, whether that be from a training, from weightlifting, just anything in general, a lot of you guys like me have probably been in that issue where it's just you can't or you don't feel like eating afterwards. Your stomach's just not hungry. You're just not hungry. There's this concept of the golden hour or the 30-minute post-workout recovery that you need to get something in. There's been back and forth research with if that's actually true, if that's the thing. My stand, and from what I've learned throughout, PT school and grad school, is that is a possible and potential thing to make sure that you at least get something protein carb-wise within that 30-hour cycle after a training event. Now the ratio, people that want to get real into it, it's 4 carbs to 1 protein. Okay, so make sure you're not just straight up having a protein shake or just protein in general, but make sure there's some carbs, maybe have a granola bar with this. There's plenty of options. Number 3 and final pro, for a lot of people that have preference with taste, there's lots of flavors. Plenty of flavors of protein. This one, I know this is chocolate smooth. They've had cookies and cream, which is by far my favorite. Love cookies and cream. The basic vanilla and chocolate, if you're just a basic person, you're just weird. So let's get to the cons. The biggest one, protein, when it comes in this form, please do not, I repeat, do not use this as a meal replacement, okay? A lot of people think, just supplementing protein with a shake or something instead of eating an actual meal is a good thing. It's not, okay? I don't even care if you're trying to cut weight. This is a supplement, which means it's supposed to go along with your diet, not go into it, okay? See what I'm saying? You need to eat an actual food that actually has and contains protein and actual carbs and stuff. Number 2, not all wheys and proteins are the same. Like I said before, some are gonna be slower digesting, others will be faster. Some will have more protein, others will have less. More fat, less carbs, the list goes on, okay? The biggest thing to pay attention to, like all these other supplements I've talked about, is pay attention to what the company is, if they're getting it sourced and selected and tested by other companies and labs, and what the ingredients on the back of the label are. So our next and final supplement, vitamin D, hopefully you guys can see it. Vitamin D is from the sun. It's very important for bone health and immune system. The issue is that yes, that we do get vitamin D from the sun, but it's usually not enough, okay? So a lot of studies are coming out now due to COVID that they're starting to realize that a lot of these people that are becoming sick with COVID and COVID strictly, not due to other conditions, are vitamin D deficient. So they're researching if vitamin D deficiency is correlating to, contracting or being more susceptible, can't say that, to possibly being infected with COVID. But the darker skin you are, the harder it is for your body to actually get vitamin D from the sun. The lighter you are, the easier it is. It's just how it works, okay? So I've noticed that this has definitely, helped improve my focus and energy throughout the day. But the main concern is for me to take this just to, protect myself more with COVID. So the pros of vitamin D. Number one, it can help boost your energy, and it's gonna really help your bone structure and growth. The key takeaway to think about is if your bones aren't strong, your muscles aren't gonna be too strong either, because your muscles are connected to your tendons, which the tendons then connect to the bone. So if your bones are brittle, it's gonna hurt to actually even do anything, and then your muscle's not gonna wanna work as much as it wants to. So number two, like I said before, vitamin D is very hard to obtain for some people. So this supplement will actually help you be vitamin D sufficient, which is what we ultimately want, okay? So this is a big thing now for people to try to get as much vitamin D as possible, especially now since we're in these times of, more lockdown, staying inside, not going out as much. And number three, it will help boost your immune system and support structures. So this is very important now, especially due to COVID. And I don't want to make this whole topic about COVID, but this is honestly a reason why I wanted to try this, because I wanted to see, if it can protect me, can it protect others down the road? Let's go to the cons of vitamin D. Number one, watch how much you take, okay? Each droplet is, for this particular bottle, is 1,400 IUs, or international units. The max I think the body can take in is like 4,000 IUs. Okay, you guys can fact check me, don't go ahead. But watch your intake though, and make sure you're careful and know your blood levels and everything, because if you take too much vitamin D, it can cause hypercalcemia. So you can have a lot of calcium or too much calcium either in your blood or in your thyroid, and you can have some issues with that. So you do have to be careful, which will bring this to the second con, is that with the high calcium levels, you can have issues with atherosclerosis, which is just the arteries getting shorter, smaller pockets. So imagine you have this artery with all the blood pumping through it, and then you got the same amount of blood trying to pump through that much space. So that's where you want to be careful about. There can be issues with the lungs and kidneys, just a lot of visceral issues, just because it's the immune system, okay? So you gotta be very careful. So before we end this video, if you made it this far, you're in luck. If you guys like coupons and discounts, you're in luck again. So I've teamed up with Loci. For people that don't know, Loci is a great brand that uses, they grab mud from the Dead Sea to put in the black bead, and water from Mount Everest to put into the white. And every bracelet comes with this. They have plenty of different styles, all types of bracelets, threads, jewelry, clothing. And if you use their website or go on their website and you order anything, before you check out, type on in the coupon code Muscle Memory. You'll receive 20% off your order, and I will greatly appreciate it, because I believe in this brand of finding your balance in life. And this particular bracelet is all about what lifts you. So I always like looking at it and finding out, what is my why for today? What is my purpose? What am I doing today that's gonna help better my tomorrows? Okay, so don't forget, coupon code below, type in Muscle Memory at checkout to receive 20% off your order.